Chapter 8, Part 2. Probably heard you talking about me from the door. Fingers sucked chocolate from his wispy moustache. Knows I'm a cracksman already. Is that someone who breaks into safes? Asked Harry. Yeah, safes, offices, bank vaults, post offices, casinos, betting shops, that sort of thing. Anywhere there's a lock, it's my job to open it. And like Dot and Angel, Aunt Bridget looked round the room, like everyone here, he's the best there is. That's right, Harry dear, said Auntie Florrie. You probably don't realise it, but you're in very distinguished company. Harry looked at the little safe breaker. How do you do it? He said. Years of training, said Fingers. Touch mostly, good set of tools and explosives. About which the less said the better, said Huggy pointedly. All right, no need to keep going on about it. Had a couple of accidents, that's all. Couple of accidents? Harry laughed. You know what they call him also? Huggy laughed. You know what they call him also? Blaster and H-bomb. My heavens, the explosions. When he blows open a safe, it is like the Third World War broke out. Say what you like, said Fingers, but who dressed up for Halloween and did the Bank of England job, eh? Who borrowed the Queen's tiara for his daughter when he took her to the Gala Ballet? Who nicked the coppers' pay packets from the strong room at Scotland Yard? Who sprung his mates out of Dartmoor when that lying git Judge Priestley put them away for 10 years? Fingers Peterman. That's who. He turned to Harry. Huggy's going to show you a bit of wrestling, that's right. Well, when you've got a bit of spare time on your hands, I'll teach you a thing or two and all. A burglar teaching him to pick locks. Harry was taken aback. It's all right, dear, Auntie Florrie smiled. No harm in knowing a bit of lock picking. You don't have to start breaking into people's houses. Harry's attention was divided between listening, eating cake, and rolling bits of grit from between his toes. What do you do, Aunt Florrie? He said. I should have thought you could work that one out for yourself, dear. Harry furrowed his brow. Do you drive the getaway car? Of course, she answered cheerily. We went for a little spin this morning, didn't we? Never heard of Florrie Fox, said Max. His voice was smooth and educated. The first woman to win a Formula One at Brand Hatch. The only woman, dear, said Auntie Florrie placidly. She tapped a cigarette on a case of gold and crimson enamel. And at Monaco and Le Mans. And then she went in for motorbikes and won the Isle of Man TT. Yeah, I preferred the bike, said Aunt Florrie. Being out in the wind, leaning into the corners, accelerating up the straight. 150 feels like something on a bike. Still, she lit a cigarette and was clouded in blue smoke. The doctor said I had to give it up. Never understood why. So now it's only cars. But I've still got an old Norton Commando out in the shed somewhere. It's a lovely bike. Better than all these Harleys and Hondas everyone talks about nowadays. It's got style. Ask Nutty, he'll show it to you. All greased up and ready to go, said the tall handyman. Really, after all this time? Oh, Nutty, you are a sweet. She blew him a kiss. No racing, though. Maybe take Harry a little run through the lanes one day. We'll see. She settled herself comfortably in the big chair and reached for a chocolate. Then there's Max. Aunt Bridget sat with a straight back. The man of 1,000 faces. Harry looked across. Max was a striking figure, slim and flashily handsome. Sleek hair, black as a rook's wing, as was brushed straight back from his brow. When he smiled, as now, his teeth were dazzling with one gold filling. On his upper lip was a thin spiv moustache. He wore an immaculate blue suit with a pinstripe. A red handkerchief peeped from the breast pocket, and on his wrist was a large gold watch, and on his fingers were large gold rings. A consummate actor, Aunt Bridget continued. Today you see him as he really is, or rather, as he likes to be seen. Tomorrow a bishop, an airline pilot, a managing director, a rambling old professor in tweeds. If my memory serves me correctly, Miss Barton, said Max. His voice and expression changed so totally that Harry was startled. It's a policeman you want next time, isn't it? For the Heathrow job, yes, said Aunt Bridget, but we'll talk about that later. Could have made his fortune on the stage, said Angel, eyes enormous behind his thick spectacles. What a performer! When I was an art student, he was playing the old Vic. Wonderful he was, Hamlet and Othello. I made a set of drawings of it, with Sir Laurence Olivier, wasn't it, Max? That's right. Max crossed his leg and brushed a fleck of cigarette ash from an elegant knee. Back in my old theatrical days. One night, Larry played Othello and I played Iago. The next night, we changed round. The most promising actor of his generation, they called him. Then one day, he just gave it all up. Angel raked amongst his whiskers for a loose piece of biscuit. Terrible waste, Max, a terrible waste. I grew tired of the theatre, claimed the beautiful voice. You say I gave it all up? I prefer to say I took my talents out through the proscenium arch into the real world. Ah, you make it sound so fancy and fine, Max, said Huggy. A con man, that's what you are, a con man. Say it out straight. Max smiled without rancour. "Very well, my dear, darling Huggy," he said in a perfect imitation of her voice. "A con man, if that's the way you are liking to put it. I shall myself prefer to say an artist of the streets, but say it how you will." He gestured with a languid hand. "It's only words." Huggy laughed. "And what about yourself, my cuddly but formidable Russian bear?" Max continued in his own voice. "If I am a con man, what are you? Once a lady wrestler, now—" "The lady wrestler, if you don't mind," said Huggy haughtily. "Fingers told Harry all about me this afternoon, down by the lake." "All right," said Max. "The lady wrestler. Famous throughout the whole wrestling world, I was," said Huggy. "I'm sure you were, my adorable bone crusher, my enchanting strangler, my Cherie Casse-Noisette, my Betelmaine. You see, I know all your professional names, but did Fingers tell our young friend how you became a machine-gun-toting heavy for the Chicago mob?" "She never did tote no machine-gun," said Fingers indignantly. "Well, whether or not she was a heavy for them, you can't deny that, and Black Murray's bunch, and the Limehouse gang. She went round with Screaming Mad Sam for a while as well." Huggy rose and stood above the slim moustached Max. Though her face wore a pleasant smile, her muscles bulged ominously. "That was a long time ago. When have I been in trouble recently? When I go out with you on your jobs to protect you? When I hurt anybody's?" She gestured towards the settee. "You ask that boy. I teach him to wrestle, yeah? I'm gentle with him. You have a good time." All eyes followed her arm. On the big settee, Harry's hand lay limply on the blanket, still holding a biscuit. His head had fallen to one side, and he was sound asleep.